In the northwest of Argentina, mountains rise in layers of red and gold. Valleys stretch into the horizon, and small towns hold centuries of stories. This is Salta. Before setting off on a road trip toward Cafayate and Cachi, I spent some time exploring the city itself, the capital of the province that shares its name. Salta is often called La Linda, the beautiful one, and it doesn't take long to understand why. Founded in 1582 as a key stop between Lima and Buenos Aires, the city still carries that history in its colonial architecture, lively plazas, and warm, unhurried atmosphere. One of the highlights of my time in the city was visiting a Peña, a traditional restaurant where musicians and dancers perform Argentine folk music while you eat. It is a lively, intimate way to experience the culture, and the energy in the room is something you feel immediately. It is the perfect starting point for a journey through some of Argentina's most dramatic landscapes. From the city of Salta, I began my drive toward Cafayate and Cachi, following routes shaped by nature, history, and the people who live among these mountains. My first stop was Estación Alemania, an old train station that closed in 1977. Today, it is a charming, slightly surreal place where travelers pause for photos and a bit of nostalgia. Not long after leaving the station, the road enters Quebrada de las Conchas, a natural reserve known for its deep red rock formations. Behind every curve there is another viewpoint, with cliffs, canyons and shapes carved by wind and time. One of the most iconic stops is Garganta del Diablo, the devil's throat. Walking into this narrow canyon with towering rock walls on both sides feels like stepping into another world. Cafayate sits in a region with perfect conditions for growing grapes. Very little rain, lots of sunshine and cool nights create an ideal environment for vineyards. It is one of Argentina's most important wine areas, especially famous for Torrontés. Even if you're not a wine expert, the landscapes alone make the visit worth it. When I arrived in Cachi, I happened to be there during the patronal festival of San José. In the evening, locals gathered for the traditional burning of cacti, a symbolic ritual showing devotion and energy for the year ahead. The next morning, the celebrations continued with a parade of gauchos on horseback moving through the village. It felt like stepping into a living piece of Argentine culture. Just outside Cachi, you will find Ovnipuerto, a mysterious stone artwork built between 2008 and 2012 by a Swiss artist who claimed he received instructions from UFOs. Whether you believe the story or not, it is definitely a unique stop. On the way back to Salta, the route crosses Los Cardones National Park, a vast landscape filled with giant cacti and endless views. Somewhere between Cachi and Salta, I stumbled upon something completely unexpected. A local music festival was taking place along the roadside, with traditional dancers and musicians performing against a backdrop of mountains. It was one of those spontaneous travel moments that make a trip unforgettable. Unplanned, but full of joy and culture. This road trip around Salta has been one of the highlights of my time in Argentina. Dramatic landscapes, warm people, and a mix of history and tradition that you feel everywhere. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and join me on the next adventure.